I never believed in ghost stories. Not really. Growing up in Ohio, I always thought the talk of haunted houses and restless spirits was just small-town gossip. You know the type. Whispered warnings from old men at the diner, kids daring each other to knock on some abandoned porch after dark. I laughed it off. I thought the world was solid, logical, explainable. But then, I moved into the house on Ashwood Lane. It was November when I signed the papers. A two-story Colonial, white paint peeling from its clapboard siding, black shutters hanging crooked on their hinges. It sat at the very end of a cul-de-sac, surrounded by leafless trees that scraped against the siding whenever the wind picked up. The realtor told me it was priced to move. I thought I was getting a deal. The neighbors, though, didn't say much. A few friendly waves, sure, but nothing more. And when I asked about the house, about its history, why no one had lived there for years, their smiles faded. They'd changed the subject, mutter something about old houses being too much work, and leave it at that. I should have known. I should have listened to the silence. My first night there, I tried to ignore the way the house seemed to breathe. That's the only way I can describe it, like the walls were expanding and contracting with every gust of wind. I unpacked a few boxes, ate cold pizza from the only restaurant still open that late, and tried to sleep. That's when I heard the footsteps. Slow, deliberate, coming from the second floor. The problem was, I lived alone. I told myself it was the house settling, maybe raccoons in the attic, but the footsteps had weight, pressure, the kind of sound that a person makes when walking across old wood floors. I grabbed a flashlight and crept upstairs. Every step creaked beneath me, the beam of light bobbing along faded wallpaper. The hallway stretched longer than it should have, the shadows thick and sticky, like they clung to the edges of the light. And at the very end of the hall, a door. I froze. That door hadn't been there before. I reached out and touched the knob. It was ice cold, burning my palm. I twisted it slowly, heart hammering. Inside was a small room, barely larger than a closet. The wallpaper peeled in jagged strips, exposing plaster beneath. An old rocking chair sat in the center, rocking slowly back and forth, though the air was perfectly still. I swallowed hard and stepped closer. The beam of my flashlight landed on the wall. Words were scratched deep into the plaster, ragged and uneven. "She watches. Don't let her in." The rocking chair stopped. And then, faintly, I heard it. A woman humming. Not from the room, from somewhere behind me. I spun around, shining my flashlight down the hall. Empty. The sound vanished as suddenly as it had started. I slammed the door shut and backed away. My hands shook, my throat was dry. I tried to laugh it off, to tell myself I was tired, that my imagination was playing tricks, but deep down, I knew better. The second night, the house didn't bother hiding. I was brushing my teeth when the bathroom mirror fogged over, though the water was ice cold. I wiped the glass clean. For just a second, I saw someone behind me. A woman, pale and cracked, her face like porcelain, shattered and glued back together. Her hair hung in tangled clumps, her eyes nothing but black voids. I spun around. Empty. When I turned back, words were etched in the mirror. Mine. I stumbled back, nearly slipping on the tile. My heart hammered in my chest. I didn't sleep at all that night. Every creak of the house set me on edge. Every shadow stretched too long. And the humming. God, the humming. It came from the vents now, soft and steady, like a lullaby. By the third night, I couldn't ignore it anymore. I went to the town library, desperate for answers. Old newspaper archives told me what no one else would. The house once belonged to the Hargrove family in the 1950s. The wife, Eleanor, lost her only child in a drowning accident. After that, she stopped leaving the house. Neighbors claimed they heard her humming lullabies through the walls at all hours. Weeks later, she disappeared without a trace. Some said she wasted away in that rocking chair. Others whispered that something else had taken her. Either way, the house was abandoned soon after, and every family that tried to move in didn't stay long. When I came home that evening, the hidden room door was open. The rocking chair creaked slowly, and on the wall, beneath the warning I'd seen before, new words were scratched deep into the plaster. Welcome home.
That night, the humming grew louder. I woke at 3:15 a.m., the so-called witching hour, to the sound of footsteps outside my bedroom door. I held my breath, listening. The steps stopped. Then, slowly, the doorknob turned. I bolted upright, slamming my weight against the door. The knob rattled violently, shaking back and forth. My pulse thundered in my ears. And then, silence. When I finally dared to look, the door was still, but scratched into the wood, deep and fresh, was a single word. Mine. I lost it. I screamed. I cursed. I pounded on the walls. But the house just creaked and groaned in response. The next morning, I knew I had to get out. I started packing, throwing clothes into boxes, shoving essentials into bags. But as I hauled the first box toward the door, I noticed something that made my blood run cold. The windows no longer showed my street. No neighbors, no cul-de-sac, no November sky, just blackness. An endless void stretching in every direction. The house wasn't letting me leave. Desperation drove me to search the house again. That's when I found the trapdoor in the kitchen, half hidden beneath a rug. I pried it open and descended into the basement. The air was damp, heavy with mildew and rot. My flashlight beam swept across shelves lined with rotting jars, broken furniture, and cobwebs thick as rope. In the far corner sat a wooden box, its surface carved with jagged letters. Keep her below.
My hands shook as I lifted the lid. Inside was a porcelain mask, cracked and yellowed with age. The face was blank, empty eye holes staring up at me. The moment I touched it, visions exploded in my head. Eleanor rocking in her chair, humming to her dead child's body. Neighbors hammering nails into the box, their faces twisted with fear. Eleanor's scream rattling the earth as they sealed her away. I dropped the mask, gasping for air. My head spun. And then, above me, I heard it. The rocking chair creaking. I bolted upstairs. The hidden room door was wide open, the chair rocking violently. And sitting in it was Eleanor herself. Her porcelain-like face cracked with every movement, her hair draped over her shoulders in greasy strands. Her empty eye sockets locked onto me. She stopped rocking. The humming ceased. And in a voice like broken glass, she whispered, You set me free. I stumbled back, tripping over my own feet. Shadows spilled out of the room, crawling along the walls, twisting and writhing like living things. The air grew heavy, choking me. I tried the front door again, locked. I smashed at the windows. Beyond them, nothing but endless black void. Eleanor stepped forward, the floorboards groaning beneath her weight. She raised the mask slowly, pressing it against her skin. It fused with her skin, sealing the cracks. When she lowered her hands, her empty eye sockets glowed faintly. "You will stay," she said, though her lips never moved. "You'll stay, and you'll sing with me." The shadows surged forward, wrapping around my arms, my legs, dragging me toward the rocking chair. I screamed. The last thing I remember is her humming, filling my ears, drowning everything else out. I don't know how long it's been since then. Days? Weeks? Maybe longer. Time doesn't mean anything here. The house breathes, the chair rocks, and I hum lullabies to no one. Sometimes, though, I hear footsteps outside. Curious neighbors, brave kids on dares. A new family, maybe, thinking they've found a bargain. And when the door creaks open, I smile behind the mask. Because the house always needs another voice. And Eleanor, she's still watching.